Hey everybody, Patrick here with Rap 4. It is November 26, 2012, and this is Monday Night Paintball. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Now for those of you watching from countries other than America, on Thursday we celebrated a holiday centered around gaining as much weight as possible in a single meal. Now I know I did my part, and I hope you did too. Alright guys, time for some paintball news and industry trends. Looks like Tampa Bay Damage, now that's Damage, not Rampage, just signed Alex Mouse Goldman to a 1-year deal. So that means that Alex will be on the team for another year through 2013. And it looks like he's actually arguably one of the best paintball players in the world, so good pick. Looks like key action networks are going to be putting paintball commercials on TV. That's right, channels like Nickelodeon or MTV are going to be having commercials for the JT Splatmaster brand. Now you don't usually see paintball commercials on TV. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to keep my eyes out for them. It must be pretty cool to be investing that much money for airtime. And it looks like the Splatmaster can shoot up to 100 plus feet and have marksman accuracy up to 50 feet. Very cool. That's going to be part of the commercial, so keep your eyes open. The PALS World Cup Asia just ended last week. It was arguably one of the biggest paintball tournaments in the world. That's right, there were 150 teams from over 40 countries that showed up. It was awesome. We've been watching some of the cool footage from that and getting some reports from Rap 4 Malaysia. It was in the town of Kuala Lumpur, where Rap 4 Malaysia is located and where I was lucky enough to go a couple months ago. It's too bad I missed out on that. I would have loved to have seen all that. It's mostly speedball stuff, but you got to appreciate it. So go ahead and go on YouTube and check out all the videos from World Cup Asia. It was definitely an awesome tournament. Looks like the biggest winner at this year's Las Vegas Open was Dye. That's right, Team Royalty took the gold home. Now they were also awarded the first place overall ranking for the entire season. So congratulations Team Royalty and to Dye. And that brings us to this week's tactical tip, which is pouch placement for your battle belt. Now this tactical tip is kind of a follow-up from a couple weeks ago when we did pouch placement for your vest, and the same general rules are going to apply, except instead of combat being on the front and survival being on the back, you're actually going to separate it on sides. So you're going to want combat to be on the weak side and survival to be on the strong side. Now weak side, for me, that's my left hand. I shoot righty, so whichever is your weaker side, that's where you want to have the combat based on how you're shooting. Now I'll explain that to you. When you're firing, you want to keep your hand on firing controls as much as possible, meaning your strong side, my right hand, on the safety and on the trigger. I want to maintain positive control of that. I don't like to take my hand off of that. So that means that my weak side, or my support side, is the one that's going to be just feeding that marker, feeding that rifle. I'm going to be reaching, down here on my left hand side to get to all of my ammunition, all of my kind of violent systems over here, all the systems, all the things that I use to get a player out of the game or to get somebody out of the fight. That's going to be on my weak side or my left side. All the stuff that I might need and about I need a minute to get to, that's going to be on my right side. So I'm just going to go over the pouches on this USMG battle belt. I'm just going to start from the weak side and wrap around. Okay, so first I started off with 2 advanced sidearm magazine pouches. Now these ones I put up here in front, pretty just a little bit to the left because they're kind of short and it doesn't really mess with your leg too much when you lift it up when you're running around. Not like, if you put one of these carbine magazine pouches here in the front, you wouldn't be able to move very much. It'd be like stabbing you the whole time. So I put the pistol pouches here. Some people prefer to put on the outside of the carbine pouches. There's some tactical gear manufacturers that actually have them built in with pistol mag pouches on the outside. That's totally cool. I know that some of the Savoy 6 guys roll with that, and that's what they like personally. I don't like to have it jet out too much. It seems like too much weight on the outside makes the pouch kind of bounce around when I'm moving, so I like to kind of spread it out rather than build it out. But that's just a personal preference. The other method definitely works. So put 2 sidearm pouches here. That's for my pistol. Here I have 4 magazines. Now I have these in upside down. And before you think that all the paintballs are going to dump out of these T68 magazines when we pull it out, I thought the same thing. I did. Prior to Operation End War 3, I had it in my head that if you put these feed necks or these collars in a mag pouch upside down and you go to yank it out, all the paintballs are going to spill out. Well, at Operation End War 3, when I met up with Savoy 6, the first time I met them, I actually approached one of the teammates named Kusha. I walked up to him and I said, hey dude, aren't you gonna dump all your paintballs out in that pouch when you have it upside down? And he said, no man, I don't. Like, I might lose one, but I'm not losing them at all. Actually, it works. So I tested it out, and same for me. Like, I might lose one, maybe two, but for the most part, they stay in there. I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe because there's positive pressure underneath, so it doesn't let it dump out, and when you lift up, the collar goes back into place and catches that paintball. I'm not really sure how it works, but try it at home. Honestly, it's not too bad. So I put these in upside down because that's how I have the magazines in my pouches for my real AR-15, and that's pretty standard. You want to have them in upside down for multiple reasons. First of all, you don't want debris in the magazine. Second of all, you don't want anything messing with that top round. If that top round were to slide, and not be seated, when you go to try to insert that magazine in that mag well, it's just going to mess it up, and it's going to cause, a misfeed or whatever, malfunction, and you don't want that on, especially on your first round. So you put them in upside down. Also, you want to be able to grip the magazine completely. You want to get a really good entire palm gripping that magazine on the part that's not going to go in the mag well. Okay, if this magazine were seated like this, you were to grab it here and pick it up, when you get to the mag well, you're going to have an issue. Your hand's where the magazine well wants to be. You want to grip it down here when you insert that magazine. So when it's in upside down like this, you're able to get a good grip on it, the exposed half, so that when you put it in the magazine well, you don't have to move your hand at all. You don't have to kind of scoot your hand down the magazine as you're putting it in. It's a lot faster, it's a lot more stable, it's a lot more secure. Honestly, you don't have to keep slamming the magazine in there to make sure it's seated. So I put them in upside down like that, and if you notice, they're all facing the same way. That's because my reloads are all very, very similar. The only difference between them is maybe a couple of inches where I'm reaching back on the belt. However, that is a small change compared to, if the magazine was flipped a different way, then you have to take your eyes off the battlefield to go look at your belt to figure out what's going on, and it's just nonsense. So face all your magazines the same way so that your reload is consistent the whole time. I have 4 magazines here. That's only 80 rounds. That's not very much. Unfortunately, these are only 20s, but that's what you got. And if you want to carry more ammo over here, I do highly recommend that. Depending on what kind of game you're playing, maybe it's just like a 2-on-2 game, and this is 80 rounds is more than enough. Maybe you're off at like Operation End War or something, like this huge battle, and you're going to need to carry a lot more ammo than that. It's up to you. Right now, following the magazine pouches, here I have a dump pouch, and this thing is so useful, you have no idea. This little thing right here will make your life so much easier, whether you're on a paintball field or on the battlefield, or even if you're just at the range, just to have something to dump things in. It doesn't have to be a magazine, it could be anything really. Here, these things fold out. You tuck the lid in there, and this thing just stays open like that. Real easy to reach back and put stuff in. Now these T68 magazines, I know they cost like around $30 or something, so a lot of people don't like to throw them down on the ground. That's kind of the idea behind the D-Mag, is that they're a lot cheaper, so you can treat it like a pod and just chuck it. But while you're still running T68 mags, you might want to hold on to them. In which case, when it's empty, instead of just throwing it out of the mag well, you probably want to grab it, throw it in this dump pouch, grab your next magazine, and feed it in. It's a little bit slower, but you end up protecting your investment over here. So I highly recommend, if you are running any kind of belt system, it doesn't have to be a battle belt, even just onto your actual belt that's holding your pants up, I would put a dump pouch here, just because it just simplifies your life. Seriously, this little thing's a lifesaver. You can put anything back there you want to. Anything you pick up, with little pods maybe. You want to keep your pods, put them back there. Anything like that. It's a really useful piece of equipment. I always have one on my belt. Moving to the back here is a combat lifesaver pouch. This is a first aid pouch. Now, when I play Milsim paintball, I treat it like a training mission where if somebody goes down, you have to start administering aid based on where they're wounded. If they got shot in the leg, just imagine they got shot in the leg, that kind of stuff. It's kind of more like on a training level with other vets and stuff. It's just what we're familiar with, and it really adds a different dynamic to the game. Most people don't play like that. Most people just lift their marker and walk off the field. So this pouch may not be useful for you. At this spot on the back of the belt, this is a good place for a tank pouch. I suggest the horizontal ones, just because maybe it's kind of awkward having that go straight up and down right there. But if you do put air tank pouch on the back of this and it's kind of big and heavy, I highly recommend that you get some kind of suspender system for this belt. Otherwise, the back of it's going to get weighed down more. With a suspender system, it will be perfectly stable and it'll feel great. Without it, you might have it shifting around a little bit on you. So just a recommendation if you are running an air tank pouch off the back there. Over here I have my comms, and I have just basically USMG small utility pouch. This is just for anything, squeegees, rifle cleaning kit, anything like that. The reason, I'll explain on the survival side of the belt, being on the right hand side. Medic pouch, I explained that on the vest video. This is out of the way because I'm not going to use this. Now, some people responded saying that their unit, they actually were taught to administer self-aid. That's not something that was standard when I was trained and when I was training. We basically explained to the gunfighters that they are going to be using a wounded person's kit on them, so you can put this out of the way because you won't need to be getting to this. Okay, so I put it in the back here. I don't have to mess with it. If I did, I just kick my belt off or I do something to get to it. Over here I have a radio pouch. This one's pretty cool because it's highly adjustable. It's got hook and loop all over it. You can get really wide and really tall depending on what kind of radio you got. Right now I have it cinched down for the Cobra radios that we sell here at RAP4. The little small ones, those are more than enough for like a paintball team. But if you are like an operator, if you got a big ICOM, or even if you got like an EPLARS or something like that, this thing will actually expand out big enough to hold one of those. So this is a pretty cool little pouch. I put it over here because, as I explained in the vest video, I'm not bouncing between channels. I'm not going to be getting in and out of the vehicle, and I do not need to talk directly to it. I actually have a throat mic that I use. So it's a good way to get your comms out of the way, but it's still there. You can reach back, you can mess with it if you need to. Pull it out real quick, look at it, put it back. Good pouch. Utility pouch, like I said, this is anything maintenance wise, whether it's like a squeegee or I got a little spray ball in case you get a barrel break or something like that. This is a good place for it. All of these pouches are under the assumption that you have time to get to them, that you can put your stuff down for a second because you need to take your barrel out to squeegee it or whatever. You are in a place that's temporarily safe, at least, and that's what is the assumption on this right hand side, because for the most part while you're out there playing, your strong hand is going to be on the firing controls of your marker. You're not going to want to take them off. Okay, so most of these pouches on the right hand side, never really mess with it. Here I have the beginnings of a leg holster. Now we're going to go over holsters later. As I mentioned before, I don't always wear a vest, but I always wear a belt, and the reason for that is because that's where my speed reloads come from. That's where I train. It's the most consistent, most secure, and most comfortable place that I like to put the magazines that I use to reload really fast. As far as storage, that can go in a vest, or that can go in a leg platform or somewhere else, even a backpack maybe. Now this is only one way to set up a battle belt, and there are millions of different ways based on millions of different preferences, and we're curious to see yours. So if you're running a battle belt, go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/rap4usa, and post a picture to our wall and let us know why you have it that way. We're really curious to see it. And that brings us to this week's topic of discussion, which is, how do you handle your marker? Personally, I treat Milsim markers exactly like a real rifle. I hold this 4.68 the same exact way as I do my real AR-15 at home, and I have reasons for holding it that way. Some people say it's a little goofy, but it's definitely effective. I'm curious if you hold your Milsim markers like a real firearm, or if you treat it like it is a paintball gun with no recoil. I'm curious. Some people, they will go out on a paintball field and they will kind of do the over-the-shoulder T-Rex arm thing like you would see on a speedball gun, and they're doing it with a Milsim gun because, well, there's not going to be any recoil for them to try to mitigate. So it's actually pretty effective. Or do you like the realism of it, pretending like it's a real rifle and getting behind it, holding onto it like it's about to kick? Let's go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/rap4usa and let us know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Now remember that Monday Night Paintball is your show. We make this out of the content generated from our Facebook page. So if there's anything you'd like to see, just go to facebook.com/rap4usa and let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out there.